Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today I'm going to be bringing you another recent reads, and this is going to include all the books that I've read since this year has started. So before we get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and click that bell notification so you don't miss out on when I post. And now without further ado, on to the video! So far in this year, I have read 5 books. The first book I have read is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. And once I read this book, I got it. I got all of the hype from Leigh Bardugo because this book was amazing. So if you don't know, Ninth House is about this girl named Alex Stern, who was kind of a troublemaker, but she has been given a chance to go to Yale because she's part of a secret society that watches over the other 8 secret societies, the 8 houses, which is why her house is considered the 9th house. And so during this, her mentor, Darlington, disappears, and so she's basically in charge of running the 9th house. But then a girl is murdered, and so she has to figure out what is going on. And if that sounds interesting to you, I would consider reading it. Actually, just read it because it's so good. And I'm gonna get into spoilers now, so spoilers coming up. So, oh my gosh, okay. That was crazy. Okay, it was such a good book. First of all, I love all of the houses. I love how each one does like a specific thing. So there's the house for, illusions and magic. Then there's the house that, does all the writing stuff. Then there's the house that, carves people open and reads their entrails for predictions, which is actually super weird, but that's besides the point. So I just love how complex and how well the story was developed. It was so good. Now, another thing is, I love how Alex didn't give up, okay? She knew something was up, and something was up, and then I loved that she ended up working with the detective. And then I also love how we saw more and more of Dawes throughout, the story. She's a really great character. Love her. Okay, what I will say is, I knew Dean Sando. I knew Dean Sando was something fishy. Something fishy was going on. I knew it because he was like, just leave it be. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. X, Y, and Z. And then the fact that he wouldn't let Darlington back and he did that spell when really it was to keep Darlington from coming back at all when they were supposed to be trying to get Darlington. Wow, messy. Now what I will say, I did not expect for Professor Belbum to be evil. Okay, so she's Bertram's sweetie, and she was shot, but she didn't want to die, so she jumped into someone else's body, and she's just in consuming souls. I was like, wow, that is crazy. But yes, oh my gosh, I really want to explore more. Hopefully in the next book we'll explore more about how Alex even has these powers to begin with. Well, actually we explored that, never mind. She's a wheel turner. So I'm just really excited to see the next book. I really want to get Darlington back. I hope that's what we do. I can see such great things in this world. This is such a good book. Also, okay, before I close up, bruh, the 9th house does need to exist because some of the things that they were doing was bad. Like how they were growing, I can't remember which house it was, but the house that does all the illusions, how they were growing that stuff to make people want to satisfy or want to fulfill someone's will. That powder, yeah, they need to get in control of that powder because that powder got into too many hands, into the wrong hands of too many disgusting, deplorable people. So the 9th house definitely has a purpose, and I'm glad that Alex and Darlington realizes it because Sando, oh my gosh, he was doing so much. He was so bad. He was like, this is a funding year, so who cares? I was like, no, we cannot let these children run haphazard, doing haphazard things that could kill everyone. No. The next book I read was A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, the 4th book in An Ember in the Ashes quartet, and I finally finished this series. I am so proud of myself. I still haven't finished Lord of Glass, but that's another story for another day. So I'm not really going to be able to tell you much about this book, except, spoilers exist. So, yes, I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars, and it was so good. Such a good end, okay? And before we do it, we're getting to spoilers right now. So, yes. I knew that her mother was not dead. What did I say? What did I say in the last video? I said, if there is nobody, nobody is dead. Nobody is dead. I knew that her mother was gonna come back. I knew that her mother was not dead. Also, Sabata here, she isn't afraid to kill some characters, okay? Like, oh my gosh, when she killed Harper, after Helene had finally, stopped being an illusion, like, I'm gonna be with him, I was like, dang. Okay, but you know what? To be honest, I knew he was gonna die because he was like, as soon as this is over, we're gonna be together. I was like, see, you messed up right there. You never say that before a battle. That means one of you is gonna die, and I knew it was probably gonna be him because we all knew that Elias, Leia, and Helene could not die. Otherwise, it would not be good. So I knew he was gonna die. Now then, Darren also died, which was so sad, which made Leia feel like she was all alone, of course, until her mother came back because we knew her mother was not dead. But oh my gosh, it was so good. Okay, I love how Helene took back the city. Oh, that was so awesome. That was great. And she was like, yeah, I know that the rules were to not use swords, but guess what? I'm not a Karkin. Stab! I was like, oh, awesome. Finally, something made me like you. And then, oh my gosh, how Helene's sister died. Oh my gosh, that is so tragic. I love how she's now the Empress. Like, we all knew it was gonna happen, but yeah. The only stupid thing is she's like, I'm never gonna marry and have kids so that my nephew can take over. I was like, okay, sis, whatever you want to do, whatever. But that's besides the point. Yes, I love how Elias was finally relieved of being the soul catcher. Now it's Leia's mom, but now Elias and Leia can be together. I mean, I guess they're cute or whatever. But I'm just really sad that Harper is dead because he made me like Helene very much. And now, do I like her? Possibly, who knows? But that battle was so good. And I love the story of the Nightbringer and how his true love was living in the body of Leia because Leia had to fight the Nightbringer. Also, the Nightbringer, he really was gonna just destroy everything. He was building up the sea of those souls to unbring suffering to the entire world, to destroy everything, even his fellow Jinn. Wow. Can you imagine? You're a Jinn and you have no idea that like your king is trying to kill you in the end. Wow, could not be me. Now, the next book I want to talk about is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I also gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. If you don't know what this is about, basically it starts off with this girl and this guy who is the brother / best man of this girl's ex-fiance. In fact, the plot starts out that he is actually the one that got his brothers to call off the wedding to Lena, the main character. His name is Max, the brother. So, once again, to reiterate that, because I know it can get confusing, Lena and Andrew were supposed to be getting married, but then Max told Andrew, Max being Andrew's brother / best man, not to marry Lena. And I'm getting into the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So I was really trying not to say anything, but Max actually did not. That reveal that Max actually did not tell Andrew to break up the wedding, and that Andrew just passed off the blame to his brother because he didn't want to marry her. Like, are you serious? Like, you can't even be honest that you don't want to marry her. Like, you're gonna pass that blame onto your brother. Like, and I'm trying to figure out how my good sis Lena even got entangled with this man, because this man, he has so many flaws. Andrew has so many flaws. Like, does he not just seem like that guy who you're like, what are you doing with your life? Like, is that not who he is? Okay, but anywho, so I love this book. I love this book because it is enemies to lovers, and then also there's this moment when they go to the barn and they get stranded, and so they have to pretend to be a fake couple. Oh, I also love fake couples. That is one of my favorite tropes. But my thing is, okay, so I just don't, for me personally, I don't understand. This seems a little bit messy because how can you get into a relationship with one brother after you've already been engaged to the other brother? To me, that sounds impossible. To me, that sounds like it's just be doing too much. But I did love the story. I loved Lena, and I loved how, because they are Brazilian, we got a lot of Portuguese in there, and there were a bunch of, her friends were amazing, and her personal assistant, who was actually, her friend, was also amazing. But oh my gosh, Andrew's just a hot mess. Like, remember when he came to the to Lena's workspace, and how he was basically like, Max doesn't even love you, he's just trying to compete with me because everything's been a competition between us two, and you should know that. I was like, wow, clearly he has issues and he needs therapy. And I'm glad at the end he said, I'm going back to another city because I realized I have issues. Like, yeah, dude, you thought. You thought? It was a mess. But also, it was a great book. Loved it because of those two tropes, and oh, it was just so good. So yes, 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Raybearer by Jordan E. Fueco, 5 out of 5 stars, and I am so mad that I did not read this sooner. Oh my gosh, it is so good. So basically, I'm just going to give you a little bit of what the story is about in case you don't know what it's about, so you can go read it. So it starts off with our main character, Teresa, and her mother, the lady. And so basically, using her last wish, the lady forces her daughter, the main character, Teresa, to kill the crown prince. But she doesn't tell her who the crown prince is. She merely shows Teresa a picture of the crown prince. So then, she is sent off to a competition to be one of the prince's 11 companions because the court is made up of 12 people, the crown prince and his companions, and they make up, the 12. And then when he becomes the king, it's like the 12 people that rule over this society. Okay, so that is all that I can tell you without spoilers. So I would suggest picking this book up now. Well, finish this video and then pick up the book because it is that good. Okay, so let me just say, number one, okay, Dio being ace, oh my gosh, I love the representation. Ace being asexual, oh my gosh, I was like, wow, okay, good representation. Number two, oh my gosh, this is so good to me. Okay, so basically there's huge, thread in, this entire society that, follows, the patriarchal society. There's, only the king has the power. And then there was this one empress, and they're like, oh, well, she was just a fluke because the emperor had no sons, and so they had to pass the reign through her. But actually, we find out that there are actually 4 crowns because originally the system only had 2 crowns, which were for the emperor and the prince, but there are actually 4 crowns for the emperor, the empress, the prince, and the princess. And we find out that actually the lady is the sister to the emperor, as in the aunt to Dio, crown prince. And so basically the lady was kicked out because she was building her court, and the king didn't want her to do that. He was very offended, and so he kicked her out. And so the lady wanted to get her revenge, and so she had Teresa, so that Teresa could go and enact her revenge. Oh, it was so good. And Teresa being a Raybearer, oh, it's iconic, okay? Also, Kira and Sanjeet are great friends, and I love it. Okay, also, this concept of Songland, so the fact that all these kids have to be sacrificed anyway to, fill the void so that the void doesn't, release monsters and all these terrible things is so horrible. And so basically what happened is a long, long time ago, the old emperor made this, rule so that his blood would count as every other district except for Songland. And so when the blood was joined with the other blood of the councils, Songland would always get the short stick. So all of the kids that would have to be sacrificed had to come from Songland. And it was so sad. And so at the end, when Teresa is like, no, I will go down there to stop this. At first I was like, no, please don't do it. I don't want you to die. But also, how noble of her. How brave, okay? Only she could do it. Only she could do it. And I love that. Oh my gosh. Also, why would they travel that way? That traveling, let's jump through these portals that eventually will disintegrate our bodies. That does not sound like an effective way to do that. But whatever. And so, it was so crazy because both the mom and the emperor died because the emperor was killed by one of the members on his council because one of the members on his council was secretly in love with the other member on his council. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. It was so epic. Oh, it was great. It was so good. I am so excited for the next one. It's going to be so good. I can just feel it in my soul. And the thing is, a lot of people have been saying this. It's really a short book. It's 386 pages. And there's so much world development, so much storytelling. I need to see this adapted. I need to see this adapted into a show, and I will watch it. So get on that. Yes. And then the last book I want to talk about is Oblivion by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and not just the regular Oblivion that we have in the paperback form, but all of Oblivion, including both Opal and Onyx from Damon's POV. So really, that's 3 books in one. So, yes. Now, I still gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It's just so good. And to me, right now, because it does give you Damon's POV for the first 3 books in the series, now I'm like, do I need to reread the 4th and the 5th one? I don't have time for that, so I'm not going to do it. I may just like watch my videos that I'm going to link. But it was so good. It was so amazing. Damon is one of my favorite characters of all time. And, you know, just seeing like the things that go on in his head when he's not with Katie, just like things in general. Like they're just like the amount of like responsibility that he has, because he's the most powerful Luxon, and so he's responsible for his family, but also the entire colony in that area, and also how important family is to him because of that, and how important trust is. And I was like, wow, iconic. Oh, it was so good. And then just seeing all the interactions when they get Dawson back. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yes. Highly recommend. Okay, so that concludes all the books I've recently read, especially all the books that I've just read in the new year. The book I'm currently reading is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'm already like on the 3rd chapter, and I'm also reading Crescent City at the same time, but I'm probably gonna finish this first. So I'm excited to know how this is. Also, give me book recommendations in the description below. I am blazing through. I'm trying to blaze through as many as possible before the school year starts. Don't want to go back, but I have to because I need that degree. But yes, if you like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment and subscribe and click that bell notification so you don't miss out on when I post. And now, all that's left to say is bye-bye.